Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have radio waves. Every day, thousands of times a day, Earth receives signals that come from outer space by way of radio waves. These radio waves come in super fast bursts that are only a few thousandths of a second long, so this may not seem like much, and we could just kind of chalk it up to some weird space thing we don't quite understand, but the weirdest part that makes it all the more intriguing is that some of them appear to repeat. One important clue about these bursts is in how they arrive. Higher frequency radio waves appear first, and then they are followed by ones with a lower frequency in a sort of falling or cascading effect. This is likely what is known as the propagation effect, which means that the original event, whatever is causing these radio signals to be sent out in the first place, emits all the signals at once, but the lower frequency ones travel at a slower pace. Just slightly slower than the higher ones, thus we have this delayed arrival to Earth. If this is the case, this means that wherever the signals are coming from is very far away. This is because it would take quite a significant amount of time for this effect to show up as clearly as it does on our telescopes, and if that's the case, and we are still able to detect them after all of those intervening millions of years of travel through space, then they must have started out as very bright. This was a really long way of saying, hey, we get these radio bursts every single day and we have no idea what they are or where they come from, but they just might be millions of years old. Theories as to what could be causing the waves ranges from exploding stars to colliding neutron stars, or comets smashing into neutron stars, or maybe something I'll absolutely never understand like evaporating black holes or quote oscillating primordial cosmic strings. In our number 9 spot today we have the origins of life. Where did life originate from? I know many people have their own theories and beliefs, and I'm not here to discredit or judge any of those. I'm just here to say that we have no evidence to prove anyone's theory. We simply just don't know, so at this point, your guess is as good as mine. Many people choose to believe that life began here on Earth, especially considering we have no evidence of life existing anywhere else in the parts of the universe that we've observed, but scientists aren't quite convinced. It's very true that life could have begun somewhere else and ended up being brought to Earth on a meteorite, or perhaps some other sort of cosmic collision is what landed life here. Scientists aren't even exactly sure which area of science would be able to find these answers, and even if they could agree, who knows where we should even start looking. The only reason this mystery gets a little eerie is, since we don't know where life began or how it originated, who knows exactly who or what else is out there in terms of life forms. This is exactly what leads us into our next point. In our number 8 spot today we have, where is everybody? Perhaps one of the biggest space mysteries out there is, are we alone in the universe? Are we the only intelligent life that exists? Where the heck is everyone else? We can all hypothesize and make educated guesses, but at the end of the day, no one really knows, because to know, you have to have proof and evidence. There are many theories as to why we haven't found any extraterrestrial friends yet, and they range from the belief that we are the only intelligent life in the universe to the belief that we are a nursery planet right now that is protected from other advanced civilizations so as to not disrupt our development. I love this idea. We just have an alien babysitter? What is that? A weirdly comforting thought. Despite all these theories, at the end of the day, we don't know where aliens are or if they exist at all. A Pennsylvania State University team that was being led by Dr. Jason Wright made an astonishing point, however, when they said that there is no mystery. We have searched only a fraction of the galaxy equivalent to the water in a hot tub compared to all of Earth's oceans. This is certainly something to consider. As Douglas Adams puts it, quote, "Space is big. You won't believe just how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is." In our number 7 spot today we have dark energy. Astronomer Edwin Hubble, whom the Hubble telescope is obviously named after, in the 1920s made the discovery that the universe is not static, and in fact it is actually expanding. He was studying a supernova when he realized that the universe was not only expanding, but was expanding at a much higher rate now than it was a long time ago. This discovery was groundbreaking because prior to it, scientists believed that the gravity of matter would end up at least slowing the expansion of the universe, if not causing it to contract on itself. Since this switched up everyone's way of thinking so much, there then began to be the debated topic of dark energy. This is the idea that there is this inexplicable force that is pulling all of the cosmos apart at speeds that are only increasing. Dark energy is said to make up 73% of the universe, but we still haven't been able to pin it down and directly detect it. Basically what I'm saying is that we're pretty sure it's there, but we have no idea what it is, despite it making up such a large portion of our universe. So that's just a little terrifying. In our number 6 spot today we have dark matter. Okay, if dark energy and all the mysteries it holds weren't enough, now we've got dark matter to talk about, and I'm sorry, but there's just no more answers with this one. In the 1960s and the 1970s, scientists began to hypothesize that there might be more mass in the universe than we can see. After this, an astronomer at the Carnegie Institute of Washington named Vera Rubin was studying the speeds of stars at different locations within galaxies. What she found was that there was essentially no difference in the velocity of the stars, whether they were closer to the center of the galaxy or further out. This was an interesting discovery because that defied the most basic laws of physics, right? Like, applying what we knew at that point, it would have made more sense for the stars on the outskirts of the galaxy to orbit more slowly than those at the center. In order to explain this, astronomers began discussing the phenomena of dark matter. It can't be seen, but it has a mass, which is how it is able to be detected because it exerts some sort of gravitational pull on regular matter. Dark matter makes up 23% of the universe, and if you remember, dark energy accounts for 73%, so that leaves us with a whole whopping 4% of matter that we understand better and know more about, which is things like humans, planets, stars, that sort of thing. The other 96% of what the universe is made of is one of space's greatest mysteries that we just can't seem to figure out yet. So, I don't know. I'm scared. In our number 5 spot today we have the galactic recoil. One of the galaxies that sits closest to us here in the Milky Way is the galaxy we refer to as the Andromeda Galaxy, and within it we have found this strangely shaped cluster of stars that has been stumping researchers for quite a while. Recently, it is possible that a newer theory might have actually found an answer to this mystery, but the answer is more terrifying than the mystery itself. This question has been around for decades, and this new research might also help researchers to better understand how galaxies grow by feeding on each other. Basically, every galaxy has a supermassive black hole at their center. I know, it's terrifying, but it's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. So this new study is showing that when two galaxies collide, which yes, also unfortunately happens, the supermassive black holes and their cores then release a huge, devastating, powerful kickback. It's like the recoil from a shotgun. This new study and research is now showing and suggesting that this kickback may be so strong that it can knock millions of stars into like different wonky, strange orbits, and then that would be the answer as to why this star cluster behaves so strangely. Basically, the collision and the waves won't affect the stars in the galaxy directly, but then the recoil is going to throw the remaining supermassive black hole through space, and when I say throw, I'm talking about this black hole traveling at millions of miles per hour, and we also have to remember that supermassive black holes have a mass that can be millions and even billions times that of the sun. This means that the kickback could be powerful enough for them to entirely escape the galaxy, and if they don't, they may pull the orbit of the stars around them, thus creating this wonky situation we've been wondering about. Of course, that was the most basic way of explaining it because, I mean, I'm not an expert, I'm a YouTuber, but it's crazy. In our number 4 spot today we have asteroids. Every year this is a prediction that comes up, and it's the sort of cosmic event that makes people believe that this is the year an apocalypse-inducing asteroid is going to collide with Earth. Of course, scientists work diligently to detect anything that might be on a path to Earth and might threaten our wonderful planet, but like anything, sometimes things slip through and we get a frightening surprise, like what happened just a few years ago. On August 16th, 2020, just after midnight in Eastern US time, a small asteroid buzzed past our planet just 2,950 kilometers above Earth's surface. That may seem like a far way away, but in terms of asteroids, that is a miss that is too close for comfort. Here's the worst part. The asteroid was only discovered a few hours after it made its close approach to Earth. The good news is that this is because of the size, because it wasn't a relatively huge one, and if it hadn't have missed and ended up colliding with Earth, it either would have broken up in the atmosphere or it wouldn't have been super catastrophic, world-ending sort of a thing. What I'm trying to say is that while it is something we are tracking and keeping tabs on, there's a lot of sky and space to cover, and you never know what might slip through the cracks. In our number 3 spot today we have bye-bye galaxies. Okay, did you know that galaxies can die? I didn't until I learned about this. It is said that the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. When it was just a youngster at only 3 billion years old, it was going through an extremely important period in its development, and this was the most prolific period of star birth in its entire history. New research from NASA using the Hubble Space Telescope along with the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array in northern Chile, they gazed towards the cosmic objects in this period, and that is when they found something that hadn't been seen before. 6 different dead galaxies. By this, I mean that they had run out of the cold hydrogen needed to make stars, and without the fuel for stars, these galaxies were basically running on empty. At this point in our universe, all of the galaxies should have been forming tons of stars. I mean, ours certainly was, as can be seen by a glance towards the night sky, especially in areas that aren't clouded by light pollution. This discovery is absolutely fascinating, but it's led us to a new question we didn't even know we had before. What led these galaxies to this point, and what happened to all of the cold gas in them so early on? The 6 galaxies lived fast, hot lives, but we aren't sure what went wrong. Lead author and assistant professor of astronomy at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, Kate Whitaker, proposed several potential explanations and gave us insight into the future of the studies when she said, quote, "Did a supermassive black hole in the galaxy's center turn on and heat up all of the gas? If so, the gas could still be there, but now it's hot. Or it could have been expelled and now it's being prevented from accreting back into the galaxy. Or did the galaxy just use it all up and the supply is cut off?" The questions really are endless, and it's unclear whether we'll ever know the answers for sure or not. In our number 2 spot today, we have how big is the universe? Okay, so we have our sun, which is a star that is surrounded by, we'll say, 9 planets, and that makes up our solar system. Our solar system is located within the Milky Way galaxy, and it is currently believed that there are about 100 to 400 billion stars within our galaxy, and at least that many planets, but likely more. That's a lot of planets and stars floating around in our galaxy alone, but that's not it. In our observable universe, the things we can tangibly see, there are about 150 billion other galaxies. And that's just what we can see. That number could technically go on for, well, that's exactly the thing. We don't know how much that number could grow, but it's theorized that the number is 250 times higher than the 150 billion that we can see. That's an incomprehensible amount, and that's just galaxies. When we take that knowledge and apply it to how many solar systems that would mean and how many planets, I can totally understand why we may never know for sure just how big the universe is, but it really does have this ability to make you feel exceptionally small. This, coupled with the theories of how the universe is infinite and always expanding, and things get even more convoluted. Just trying to wrap my head around it is a struggle in itself. In our number 1 spot today, we have how will the universe end? Perhaps a morbid question, but it's a good one. I mean, all good things must come to an end, and that might include the universe itself, but maybe it doesn't. I mean, we don't know. That's the whole point of this video. There are theories such as the Big Crunch, which suggests that the expansion of the universe, which has been ongoing since the Big Bang, will eventually slow to a stop, and then the universe will give way to the force of gravity, essentially just pulling everything, planets, galaxies, it all, into a single dense point until everything is just wiped out. There are other theories out there such as the Big Freeze, the Big Bounce, or the Big Rip, which sounds the most terrifying of them all, although I'm not particularly interested in any of the options so far. The good news is that this is all billions and billions of years away, so we won't be around to find out regardless, but when it does happen, it'll be a pretty spectacular event. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot, we have how big is the universe? Okay, so we have our sun, which is a star that is surrounded by, we'll say, 9 planets, and that makes up our solar system. Our solar system is located within the Milky Way galaxy, and it is currently believed that there are about 200 other solar systems in our galaxy. That's a lot of planets floating around in our galaxy alone, but that's not it. In our observable universe, the things we can tangibly see, there's about 150 billion other galaxies. And that's just what we can see. That number could technically go on for, well, that's exactly the thing. We don't know how much that number could grow, but it's been theorized that the number is 250 times higher than the 150 billion we can see. That's like an incomprehensible amount, and that's just galaxies. When we take that knowledge and apply it to how many solar systems that would mean and how many planets that would mean, I can totally understand why we may never know for sure just how big the universe is, but this really does have the ability to make you feel exceptionally small. In our number 9 spot today we have energetic cosmic rays. Energetic cosmic rays are described as high energy protons and atomic nuclei that move through space at nearly the speed of light. There are some that originate from supernovas, but there are some that originate from outside of our galaxy, and those ones have scientists wondering where they are coming from and what the source of them is. As these cosmic rays flow into our solar system, their paths are bent by the magnetic fields of both the sun and the earth. Upon impact with Earth's atmosphere, these rays produce a shower of secondary particles. Some of these particles do end up reaching Earth, but most are intercepted by either the magnetosphere or the heliosphere. The strongest cosmic rays are extremely powerful, and they can have energies over 100 million times greater than a man-made collider. If you're wondering why you should care about this space mystery, it's because these things have the power to cause our digital systems to crash, and in our ever-increasing digital world, that would cause some major disruptions to our life. This is why we care about how many of their origins remain a complete mystery that has scientists stumped. And also because shouldn't we just know where these things that are bombarding Earth's atmosphere are coming from? In our number 8 spot today we have what is dark energy. Astronomer Edwin Hubble, whom the Hubble telescope is obviously named after, in the 1920s made the discovery that the universe is not static and in fact is actually expanding. He was studying a supernova when he realized that the universe was not only expanding, but it was expanding at a much higher rate now than it was a long time ago. This discovery was groundbreaking because prior to this, scientists believed that the gravity of matter would end up at least slowing the expansion of the universe, if not causing it to contract. Since this switched up everyone's way of thinking so much, there then began to be the debated topic of dark energy. This is the idea that there is an inexplicable force that is pulling the cosmos apart at speeds that are only increasing. Dark energy is said to make up 73% of the universe, but we still haven't been able to pin it down directly and detect it. Basically what I'm saying is we're pretty sure it's there, but we have no idea what it is. So that's a little terrifying. In our number 7 spot today we have what is dark matter. Okay, if dark energy and all the mysteries it holds weren't enough, now we've got dark matter to talk about, and I'm sorry, but there's no more answers with this one either. In the 1960s and 1970s, scientists began to hypothesize that there might be more mass in the universe than we can see. After this, an astronomer with the Carnegie Institution of Washington named Vera Rubin was studying the speed of stars at different locations within galaxies. What she found was that there was essentially no difference in the velocity of the stars whether they were closer to the center of the galaxy or whether they were further out. This was an interesting discovery because that defied the most basic laws of physics, right? Like applying what we knew at that point, it would have made more sense for the stars on the outskirts of the galaxy to orbit more slowly than those at the center. In order to explain this and why this was happening, astronomers began discussing the phenomena of dark matter. It can't be seen, but it has a mass, which is how it is able to be detected because it exerts some sort of gravitational pull on regular matter. Dark matter makes up 23% of the universe, and if you remember, dark energy accounts for 73%, so that leaves us with a whopping 4% of matter that we understand better and know more about, which is matter like humans, planets, stars, and that sort of thing. The other 96% of what the universe is made of is one of space's greatest mysteries. In our number 6 spot today we have the sun. The extra hot outer atmosphere of the sun is called the corona. It extends thousands of kilometers above the visible surface of the sun, and it ends up transforming into solar wind that flows throughout our solar system. The corona is usually sitting at a temperature of 500,000 to 6 million degrees Celsius, or 900,000 to 10.8 million degrees Fahrenheit. Apparently for years, scientists have been stumped on how exactly the sun has the ability to continually reheat the corona. Astronomers have been able to narrow down all of the possibilities to energy beneath the surface and some sort of processes in the sun's magnetic field, but the exact mechanics of the coronal heating is still highly debated. Just last year in June of 2020, however, scientists did get one step closer to potentially being able to answer this question. There were tiny bursts of energy detected called nanoflares, and this might be what is responsible for the heating of the outer atmosphere. In our number number 5 spot today we have KIC 8462852. Ah yes, the star with the most memorable name. This star, which has also been referenced as Tabby's star or the WTF star, is an F-type main sequence star which is located in the constellation Cygnus about 1,470 light years away from Earth. This star is of particular importance because of the fact that it shows unusual light shifts, which includes a 22% dimming in brightness. Basically, from our point of view, something continually blocks the star, and it likely isn't a planet because a Jupiter-sized planet would only block about 1% of a star the size of this one. So what could it possibly be? There are a few theories out there surrounding this anomaly, but none are able to fully explain what is happening here. Some believe that it is some sort of uneven ring of dust orbiting the star. Others believe that the star's luminosity fluctuates depending on the efficiency of the heat being transported to its photosphere. These are just two of the theories surrounding the star, but there are many more out there, and at this point we just don't know. Hopefully once the James Webb Telescope is launched, however, we will be able to get a more clear picture of what may be happening over there on KIC 8462852. In our number 4 spot today we have a supermassive black hole. Why is there a supermassive black hole at the center of most galaxies? We know that this is often the case, but we just can't figure out why. Every galaxy's supermassive black hole ranges in size, and we know that a stellar black hole forms from a supernova when the core of the star implodes, but we don't know how a supermassive black hole is formed. Because of the fact that the center of galaxies is where a lot of matter is boxed in, it could happen that supermassive black holes form from a cluster of regular stellar black holes which end up all merging together because they were in a tight confined space at the center of the galaxy. There are other theories as well, such as the possibility of these supermassive black holes being formed during the Big Bang. What I'm trying to get at is we don't know how these things are formed, or why they're in the center of most galaxies, or even if there were supermassive black holes before the galaxies even existed. Maybe one day we'll find out, but this might just be one of those mysteries destined to stay a secret. In our number 3 spot today we have the space roar. Space is a vacuum, so it should be silent, right? Well, apparently it's not. It is said that the entire universe is alive with sound, and there is a thing called a space roar. Space roar apparently isn't an everyday sound and is rather these strange radio signals that scientists have detected throughout space. These signals are so loud that they are able to drown out other signals, which can be quite annoying for the scientists who are trying to study and learn. While we know what the sound is, we don't know where it is coming from. Apparently some people believe it was coming from the leftover radiation from early stars, and some others believe it was from the gases swirling around the galaxy in clusters, but at the end of the day, no one is really sure, and it remains one noisy mystery. In our number 2 spot today we have, how will the universe end? Perhaps a morbid question, but it's a good one. I mean, all good things must come to an end, and that might include our universe itself. But maybe it doesn't. I mean, we don't know. That's the whole point of this video. There are theories, such as the Big Crunch, which suggests that the expansion of the universe, which has been ongoing since the Big Bang, will eventually slow to a stop, and then the universe will give way to the force of gravity, essentially just pulling everything, planets, galaxies, it all into a single dense point until everything is just wiped out. There are other theories out there, such as the Big Freeze, the Big Bounce, or the Big Rip, which perhaps sounds the most terrifying of them all, although I'm not particularly interested in any of these options so far. The good news is, this is all billions and billions of years away, so we won't be around to find out regardless. But when it does happen, it'll be a pretty spectacular event. In our number 1 spot today we have, where is everybody? Perhaps one of the biggest space mysteries is, are we alone in the universe? Are we the only intelligent life that exists? Where the heck is everyone else? We can all hypothesize and make educated guesses, but at the end of the day, no one really knows, because to know, you have to have proof and evidence. There are many theories as to why we haven't found any extraterrestrial friends yet, and they range from the belief that we are the only intelligent life in the universe, to the belief that we are a nursery planet right now that is protected from other advanced civilizations so as to not disrupt our development. I kinda like that idea. Imagine we're just currently being taken care of by our sweet alien next door neighbors. That's a weirdly comforting thought. Despite all these theories, at the end of the day, we don't know where aliens are or if they exist at all. A Pennsylvania State University team that was being led by Dr. Jason Wright made an astonishing point, however, when they said that there is no mystery. We have searched only a fraction of the galaxy, equivalent to the water in a hot tub compared to all of Earth's oceans. This is certainly something to consider. As Douglas Adams put it, space is big, you just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is.
Starting off this countdown, we have the alien signal. Back in 2016, we received a signal from a nearby star, and some people believe that it was sent by aliens. So the star is in the constellation Hercules. It's about 95 light years away, which seems far. Because it is, but it's relatively close according to the universe's scale. Anyways, this star is said to have at least one planet, and it's roughly the size of Neptune, and it's thought to have the right conditions to support life. So could this planet have life on it? Who knows? But let's talk about this signal. It was so strong that they believed it came from a Kardashev Type 2 civilization. A Type 1 civilization can use and store energy from a nearby star like us, whereas Type 2 can harness the energy from the entire star, meaning it makes that planet more advanced. So it may just be that the signal was sent from extremely advanced life forms. Moving on to number 9, we have the wow signal. And if you guys are liking this video so far, then smash that like button because it really helps us out. Also, don't know what that was, but hit the like button for me, thanks. On the night of August 15th, 1977, an Ohio State University radio telescope received a quite fascinating signal. The signal lasted 72 seconds and it was intense. More intense than anything in the sky that night. Now the signal did not repeat, and over the years people have tried to find it again, but all attempts have failed. It was like a one-off. The signal is said to have come from deep space, in an area that is relatively free of noise from other objects. Now, it was given the name the wow signal because when reviewing the data, Jerry Amen was so shocked by it that he wrote wow next to it. Still to this day, we have no clue what caused this signal, but it was pretty significant. Wow. Owen Wilson, wow. Moving on to number 8, we have the Soyuz 11. On June 6, 1971, 3 Soviet cosmonauts launched into space. Their goal was to make a record for the longest time spent in space. Sadly, the mission failed and they became the first people to die in space. While in space, their breathing ventilation valve ruptured. All 3 sadly died from decompression. The last message they sent to Earth was them trying to scream for help, but they couldn't, so all they heard was them gasping for air and then weird popping sounds, which is from the air in their lungs expanding from the drop in air pressure and being exposed to the vacuum of space. The worst part? The spacecraft survived re-entry into Earth and landed perfectly, but when the hatch was open, they found the dead crew inside, their faces filled with dark blue splotches and blood dripping from their ears and noses. Moving on to number 7, we have the 13 signals. Back in 2019, the Chime Observatory in British Columbia, Canada picked up a very strange signal. They observed 13 of the same signals. These are what they call FRBs, or fast radio bursts. You're probably like, psh, okay, what's the big deal? Well, all of the 13 bursts came from the same location and they were 1.5 billion light years from Earth. And detecting that is super uncommon. It's only been seen once before. So 13 at the same location and time, that's suspicious. A number of people think that it was someone or something signaling for help. Could it be life on another planet? Aliens? Who knows? In our 6th spot today, we have the pattern. This next signal is pretty terrifying, and that's because it appears like clockwork. So basically, the signal will chime for 4 days, then after the 4th day, it stops making that weird noise. It stops for 12 days before picking up again and doing the same thing over and over again. It's thought that maybe on the days where it's not sending a signal towards us, it's actually sending a signal in another direction. Some believe that this is coming from aliens or other life forms, whereas others think that it's a star sending out radio waves and then orbiting by something that could be blocking the signal for 12 days and then returning to a position where we can hear it. It's just incredibly mysterious and we don't know what to make of it. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the mysterious flashes. Another very strange and mysterious signal that we have yet to figure out. So astronomers have detected a signal that will beam to Earth for 90 days before being silent for 67 days. They noticed that this pattern would repeat every 157 days. Its cycle is that precise. The signal is being sent from a distant galaxy, and this pattern has been happening since 2016. Furthermore, the signal is quite strong. It unleashes as much energy as our sun does in a century, in just a few milliseconds. Like, what the actual hell is going on? Theory goes that aliens have created a powerful machine that has the capability of sending out this strong signal, but then it needs 157 days to recharge itself before continuing on. But who knows? In our fourth spot today we have the eerie sounds. This is quite possibly one of the creepiest things I have ever heard. So NASA decided to gather all of the creepy sounds that they have ever heard and put it all together on SoundCloud for us to enjoy. It literally sounds like aliens communicating with each other or something like that. NASA refers to these sounds as moans and whistles from the universe. Isn't that just great? Moving on to number 3, we have the pulse of radio waves. Just recently on April 28, 2020, 2 telescopes detected an intense pulse of radio waves. Now the signal only lasted for a millisecond, but astronomers were blown away by this and said it's a major discovery. Why? Well, this is the first time a fast radio burst has ever been detected so close to Earth. The signal came from the Milky Way. In fact, Chime wasn't even looking for it, but it was so loud and clear that they caught it anyways. They said that this burst is helping them discover what these things are and where they're coming from. Maybe we'll find out if there's aliens out there sooner than we thought. Moving on to number 2, we have the lost cosmonaut. A lot of people refer to this next story as an urban legend, but with the facts I'm about to provide you with, it might just change your mind. So legend goes that back in the 1950s to 60s, 2 brothers were working as amateur radio operators. One day they were listening in on space when they heard what sounded like a cosmonaut returning to Earth's orbit. They managed to record her final moments. Her spacecraft was malfunctioning, and in the recording the woman speaking in Russian is pleading for help, saying it's getting hot, because the craft was burning up. Turns out that her spacecraft caught on fire and she was frantically sending messages hoping someone would hear it and somehow help her. But the Soviet Union just sent her up there and left her to die. Now the Soviets denied this, saying that it was an unmanned craft that burned. But the thing is, a lot of cosmonauts died during the space race, and they refused to reveal a number of those deaths. Half the time they would just cover them up. So this recording could be real. And in our number 1 spot today we have the final words. In 1967, Soviet test pilot, aerospace engineer, and cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov was sent into space on the Soyuz 1. However, the mission did not go according to plan and the spacecraft was extremely faulty. But Vladimir didn't really have a say in going on this mission. He kind of felt forced to do so. He said that if he didn't go, then the backup pilot would have had to go, which was his best friend, and he said he didn't want to do that to his friend, so he went and sacrificed his life instead. He knew the mission was going to fail, and he was right. Once he began to orbit Earth, a number of issues began to happen, such as the antennas not opening up properly. The worst came to him on his re-entry into Earth. On April 24th, 1967, during his re-entry, the parachutes failed to open. The signals he sent to Earth were haunting. On his way down, translators heard him say heat was rising in the capsule. He then began to curse the people who put him inside of this botched spaceship, saying they killed him. His final moments were him cursing and crying in rage. Imagine hearing that and listening to a man's final words. It's very haunting.